In Washington and Jerusalem, a quiet debate is accelerating. Israel is signaling a new vision for its future security, a deal that could reshape the next 2 decades. Yet its own Prime Minister is pushing in the opposite direction. As talks stir behind closed doors, the question emerges: is this partnership entering a new era or a new divide? For the first time in decades, Israeli and American officials are weighing the possibility of a security arrangement that would extend far beyond the familiar 10-year defense framework. According to officials involved in the early discussions, Israel has floated a proposal for a 20-year memorandum of understanding, one that would carry the partnership to the country's centennial in 2048. The current MOU, signed in 2016 during the Obama administration, guarantees roughly $4 billion in annual military assistance and remains in force until 2028. That agreement was the third of its kind, part of a long-standing bipartisan structure designed to ensure Israel's qualitative military edge across a volatile region. But the political landscape in Washington has shifted significantly since then. Foreign aid skeptics within the Republican Party, particularly those aligned with President Donald Trump's more isolationist America First philosophy, are increasingly vocal, making the path to a routine renewal less certain. Against that backdrop, Israeli officials have sought new ways to frame the next agreement. One senior Israeli figure, speaking in support of what he described as a redesigned approach, said the proposal emphasizes joint research and development rather than direct transfers of military hardware. He framed it as an attempt to convert financial assistance into shared technological gain, with projects in defense systems, defense-related, artificial intelligence, and initiatives connected to Trump's Golden Dome missile defense concept. The proposal reflects more than a diplomatic recalibration. It acknowledges domestic pressures in both countries, the growing U.S. scrutiny of foreign aid, and Israel's strategic interest in strengthening high-end defense industries that increasingly drive its economy. While discussions remain in early stages, officials familiar with the talks say the idea has appealed to some in Washington, who see greater technological collaboration as both defensible and politically sustainable. The White House has declined public comment. But the timing of the talks, after months of delay caused by the conflict in Gaza, signals that both governments are beginning to consider the long-term shape of their security partnership, even as regional tensions persist. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has pushed back firmly against reports of a far-reaching security deal. In an interview with Australian broadcaster Erin Molan, Netanyahu dismissed the notion that Israel is pursuing a long-term aid-anchored pact. Netanyahu, a long-time advocate of strengthening domestic defense capacity, said his priority is to move Israel towards greater strategic independence. Netanyahu noted that while U.S. assistance remains appreciated, the country's economic growth and its increasingly robust arms industry reduce the relative weight of American support in Israel's defense budget. The Israeli Prime Minister added that most U.S. aid ultimately flows back into American manufacturing, a point often emphasized by Israeli leaders, but argued that Israel should nonetheless aim for a larger measure of autonomy in defense procurement and production. Netanyahu's comments underscore a widening conversation inside Israel, whether long-term reliance on U.S. aid aligns with the country's economic reality and military ambitions. For now, the proposed 20-year agreement remains an open question, shaped by political forces in Washington, competing visions in Jerusalem, and a rapidly evolving regional landscape.